Hello, my name is Katie Kuntz, and I'm an investigative multimedia journalist. I've covered stories from drone warfare in the Middle East to meth use in my own hometown. I worked in print, web, radio, and television. I'm currently the news director for the campus radio station, KRUI, and am an investigative reporter for Iowa Watch. I'm also an assistant producer, editor, and reporter for the official station for the University of Iowa, the Hawkeye Network. Between feature stories, editorials, breaking news, and investigations, I find my own stories, shoot, edit, and report them too. Here's a small glimpse of my published work. Enjoy. Methamphetamine. It's cheap, available, and highly addictive. The Southwest Iowa Narcotics Task Force considers meth to be Council Bluffs' drug of choice, but it's also the drug so many Iowans wish they didn't choose. I'm Katie Kuntz, and growing up in Council Bluffs, this story hits home for me. The last several months, I spent time traveling the state, researching the trauma put on Iowa families because of the area's drug of choice.
During my research, I found that despite legislation to reduce homemade meth, the amount of meth has not decreased but likely has grown. The number of children impacted by neglect or abuse because of this drug has likely increased as well.
I stayed high for about 10 years. So I have 4 kids. It was my oldest that, she had a really hard time with it. Started doing meth when she was 13. But she has been sober now, and I'm proud of her because I feel like I don't have to worry about her.
And they took my daughter. And it's really a sick mind to think that you can parent somebody when you're under the influence of that drug. It does not, however, ever stop a mother from truly loving her children.
Landander and Guerrero stopped using meth more than 10 years ago and have the rare opportunity to reunite their families, an opportunity so many meth users never see.
Methamphetamine is one of the most chemically addictive substances available. It has among the highest rates for relapse of any common drug, and the effects on the human body are many and severe.
I've seen the acne begin. You start seeing the teeth starting to fall out and rot. You see even hair.
This Council Bluffs school counselor works directly with children exposed to meth and tries to help as more children are taken from their homes due to meth addiction every year. But sometimes, children find themselves using the drug too.
I find that the women usually tell me that they got involved in drugs in their early teens, maybe 13, 14, 15 years old, especially if they don't have much of a family support. Some of the women we work with were raised in homes where their mothers, the grandmothers, the mothers did drugs.
Cheap, available, and highly addictive. Experts point out a meth use cycle and suggest the best way to reduce meth could be keeping young people from using it in the first place. But at a time when prevention may be critical, funding no longer exists in Iowa schools. From the year 2011 to 2012, Iowa cut more than $300,000 in funding, which will be reduced to $0 for the next fiscal year. The effort to decrease meth is not the sole responsibility of schools, but the current budget could keep prevention out of schools completely without any funding. For Iowa Watch, this is Katie Kuntz.
Party lines, with many Democrats endorsing the Medicaid expansion.
The Affordable Care Act provides that the federal government will pay for 100% of that for 3 years and then a gradual phase down to 90%. So it's almost a deal too good to be true for state governments.
While Republicans want an alternative solution and criticize the efficiency of the program.
I think you can point to statistics, you can point to certain studies that say Medicaid is not helping Americans be more healthy.
But sometimes everyone has to go to the doctor, and the cost of medicine really can sting.
For individuals, healthcare costs are the leading cause for bankruptcy in the nation. And for Iowa hospitals, more than $350 million is lost every year by providing services to people who cannot afford to pay their bills. But Medicaid expansion is not the only option congressmen and women must consider. And as the Iowa House of Representatives moves forward on health care reform, other solutions for covering low-income Iowans will be strictly evaluated.
But my goal is to get the best bill we possibly can out of here so that the Senate will take a look at it with openness and honesty and say, what is the best thing for Iowans.
The Senate passed the Medicaid expansion in a close vote at the end of March, but many members of the House are anxious to pass an alternative plan. Katie Kuntz, Daily Iowan TV.
Emily Roberts believes that violence against women is an international phenomenon. The University of Iowa sophomore has traveled the globe, going from Chicago to Geneva, Costa Rica, Thailand, Cambodia, and next year Botswana, working to fight that phenomenon.
It was never an aha moment or anything. It was just like I always knew that this is what I wanted to do.
When not traveling the globe, Emily is working in her community, and this year, with the Iowa United Nation Association, planned a celebration called the Night of 1,000 Dinners. It's an evening full of music, discussion, and food, with a somber tone as speakers tell of the universal damage done to women every day.
Being a participant in the world, if you're not paying attention to what's going on, I just think there's no point.
The Iowa United Nations Association, located here at Old Brick, raised more than $4,000 during the Night of 1,000 Dinners. But the $4,000 sum is small when compared to the $4 billion that the United States spends on domestic violence every year.
Still, activists like Emily and so many others will continue celebrating even after the food is gone and continue working for gender equality, though there may not be an end in sight. With the Daily Iowan, this is Katie Kuntz.